Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Sure, was a failure. Sure, was a failure. Sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
So notice something. I defended him on his bad joke because I have standards and I have principles.
They're not accountable to anyone. I get 10 to 12 million views a month, and they won't come out and address my progressive audience. They won't come out and address Bree's audience, or Katie's audience, or Justin Jackson, or you. They are not accountable to us. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. They're accountable to the themselves.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
As Chris Hedges taught us a long time ago, the people attracted to politics are called mediocre.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
They are elected servants.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
That way.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
Mr. Sam, if I could just get the sentence out. Just get the sentence out. The sentence out. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow. And I still believe in force the vote. Mr. Sam, if I could just get the sentence out. Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow, and I still believe in force the vote.
The vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote, sure, was a failure. Force the vote,
and by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
Power is. I mean,
force the vote, sure, was a failure.
Power is.
Force the vote,
and by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is. I mean this at a sort of high level.
Force the vote, sure,
and by the way, I don't think
failure.
that's some grand
Force the
conspiracy. I
vote,
think
sure,
this
was a
is sort of
failure.
what power is.
Force
I mean
the
this
vote, sure, was a failure.
Sort of high level.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
And by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
At a sort of high level.
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
And by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is.
Sure, was a failure.
At a sort of high level.
Was a failure.
And by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is. I mean this at a sort of high level.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes were put there a number of hours before. Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
I hate the white man. He's of the devil. He was made in a cave in the worst parts of Europe, produced from the lowest forms of humanity.
Everybody comes in your grandmother. 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 Father, your mother comes in your grandmother. Your father 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 comes in your brother. Your cousin comes in your grandmother. Your
retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
They're coming all over the place. 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 Your grandmother. Everybody comes in 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 your grandmother. Everybody coming all over your father, your mother, your brother, your brother. Everybody comes in your grandmother. Everybody comes in your grandmother. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. They weren't coming because they couldn't get in. Once they think they can get in, they're coming, and they're coming, and they are coming at levels that you haven't even seen yet. They are coming at levels that you haven't even seen yet. They are coming at levels that you haven't even seen yet. They're coming all over the place. They weren't coming because they couldn't get in. They're coming all over the place. Once they think they can get in, they're coming all over the place. They're coming at levels that you haven't even seen yet. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over that you haven't even seen yet. They're coming all over at levels that you haven't even seen yet. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place.
He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes. And I resent like hell. I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about me.
I don't know Bo. I know Hunter. Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. It wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president.
Really, how many people do that? You mean they moved out and then they said, "Oh, the hell with it, I'll move back in"? You know, it doesn't sound like a very normal. You mean they moved out and what? They missed it so much that they wanted to move back in? Yeah, it's like it's crazy. Well,
running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of the Above It All podcast. This is the podcast that you people watch in the morning because you have nothing better to do. Let's be honest. Like, we got to be honest. You know, y'all are, not the most socially well-adjusted folks in the world, and that's, it happens, let's look at Unknown Stoyle, for example. Not the most social individual on the whole planet. Let's look at Mila. Mila's, pretty old, and apparently she has no friends, so she just watches podcasts in the morning. I mean, that's yikes, but that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have our deficiencies. I mean, anyway, so hopefully y'all are enjoying the goddamn show. We've got a show here today. I'm going to be doing the protest recap. I'm going to reek and then cap on the protest. Then I'll maybe do one more story, and then I'm going to bring in a guest. We have a guest. Yesterday, I was looking at the threads on Twitter by a user named High Progressive on the General Strike Summit. They've been apparently, engaging in self-harm, and I'm about to reward them for that behavior. And so they're going to come on the show, and we're going to have a conversation about the General Strike Summit and watch some more Cringe. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing here. I'm on vacation because I have a union job. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, look at me. I'm on vacation. It's totally not that. Imagine this. You're on vacation. oh, what are we going to go to the, the fucking, we're going to go to Hawaii. You're going to go to the, somewhere else, Nah, I'm just going to sit at home and watch a podcast. All right. Okay, sure. That's fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong there. Concreting a ground slab. All right, buddy. Sure. Whatever you want us to believe, that's fine. Because, LARPing is okay. We're all allowed to tell stories. It's not like anyone's going to verify or fact check this. Yeah, you're on a smoke break doing some concrete work in South Africa. Okay, Rielon, sure. That's fine. Whatever it is that you want me to think. DB Cooper's the racist old uncle. That's true. We're about to be 34 and we have no family. That is also very true. That's extremely true. Lose your job, start a garden. There you go. And then fix someone's car for free. If you ever lose your job, all you have to do is fix someone else's car. And then you're good to go. Oh my god. You just, you know how it is. So anyway, folks, let's get in to the goddamn. So, yesterday was a day that I don't remember. Hold up. I totally screwed this up. Day 207? Is that what it was yesterday? It was 27? Is that true? Is that true? I thought it was 207. Is that true? Hold up, folks. We got to do some investigative reporting. How does a calendar work? Let's find. We're gonna find out shortly. I guess it's 208. I don't know. I guess it's 208. All right. I don't know anything. 207 was yesterday. Well, according to my YouTube channel, I already did a 207 recap. Maybe I fucked up when 207 was yesterday, because maybe I fucked up when I did the 2 shows in one day thing. Maybe that fucked up my numbering. But I guess yesterday is 207. All right. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. I lost track of time. I'm clearly disheveled. My cheveling is, it's not as good as it could be. Let me just tell you. Apparently, I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake, folks. Is it possible? Numbers are hard. Folks, I'm really high right now, so please bear with me. So I apologize. But either way, yesterday was day 208, I think, of protests in the city of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, over the police shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. that took place on April 21st. We recently found, via the lawsuit that's ongoing, we recently found out that Sheriff Deputy of Pasquotank County, Daniel Meads, after trying and successfully executing, unconstitutionally I may add, an American citizen, he tampered with evidence in the form of lying about how many bullets he had used. He tried to cover up the amount of bullets he had used, picking up shell casings, and then manipulating the amount of rounds in his magazine. All of this, of course, was caught on another sheriff deputy's body camera. They're not that bright. You know, if you're going to try to cover up evidence, make sure your buddy, Stephen Judd or Michael Swindle, whoever it is, isn't currently recording you covering up evidence. That's probably not the best way to get away with murder. So we recently found that out. We also recently found out, in the same bunch of information, that the sheriff deputies knew ahead of time that Andrew Brown Jr. was unarmed. So they went in there with assault rifles when they knew he had no weapons. Now, make that make sense. I can't figure it out. If you know that he is not going to have any weapon because you've scouted out the scene or whatever it is, why would you be dusting off the AR-15s for a search warrant? Not an arrest warrant, I should mind you. There was no arrest warrant. Never signed by a judge. So originally, when the murder took place, they said we had an arrest warrant. He was blah, 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 blah. Then it turned out there was no arrest warrant. It was a search warrant, blah, 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 blah. You don't need to kill someone to search their house. It's not necessary. Make it make sense to me. Tell me that this was not a cold-blooded murder and currently going through a cover-up. Now, again, when Robert Morgan, Daniel Meads, and Aaron Llewellyn fired their weapons at Andrew Brown Jr., they got paid vacation. Llewellyn resigned thinking that, oh, don't worry, I quit my job. That would be like, again, if I massacred your grandma at the food line with the box cutter, where, I'm stocking the shelf, she asks where the mayonnaise is, I turn around, just slice her neck, and I just stab her 38 times. But then before the cops show up, right, I'm like, oh, folks, I quit my job. It's okay? I get it. I know I need to, I killed someone, so I got to quit my job. So that means all of a sudden I didn't murder someone because I quit my job. I don't think so, Aaron Llewellyn. I think you're a little bitch. But Robert Morgan and Daniel Meads got paid vacation. They got to kick their fucking cankles up on the coffee table and watch some Netflix, maybe play some Call of Duty, right? Make that make sense, right? Then, as soon as they get back to work, guess what? The entire sheriff's department got a raise from the Pasquotank County Board of Commissioners. Make that make sense. Now we know they knew ahead of time Andrew Brown was nonviolent. They knew he had no weapons. Then they tampered with evidence after murdering him, trying to take up rifle casings after the scene to hide how many shots were fired. They fired into a neighbor's house, almost killing someone in a school zone at 8:30 in the morning. They got 6 weeks of paid vacation. Then they got a raise. I mean, do you need any more evidence of corruption? Do you need anything else at all to prove that these motherfuckers are corrupt assassins? I don't think so. So Elizabeth City residents have been out here for 208 days, daily, consecutively, showcasing our very, we're not okay with what's going on here. So, and things need to change. But this is the United States of America, folks. I don't know what to tell you. So we got a dog over here, folks. Max the dog. Look at him. Look at him. Maxie, over here. Max is like he's very clingy this morning. He's been, I was playing with him for like a solid, 40 minutes before the stream started. Look at this fucking hound. Look at him. Look at this goddamn hound. I mean, like, can you believe this? This is a creature that lives in my room. Look at you. Look at what the hell is happening here. I really, there's a lot going on in my life. But whenever I feel sad, I just think, wow. I think, holy shit, look at this dog. That's what I'm thinking right now. Is that, like, I know that, like, his head is, like, out of the frame there. But, I mean, like, oh, my God. Max, you're so beautiful. Look at him. There is nothing more, right, that I could ever ask for. Like, all I want for Christmas is Max the dog. Reminder, folks, I got Max, like, I think the week of Christmas last year. So, Max is going to be 1 year old with me very soon. The first year of Max. And it's been a good year. Right, Max? Right? Yep. So, I'm just going to be petting this dog until he decides that he doesn't want me to pet him anymore. So, we'll see how long that lasts. But anyway, I wanted to cover... this. I wanted to cover this real quick, and then we'll get into the guest. The guest seg. Look at this dog. He's standing tall. He is standing tall. You're a tall dog. Look at him. He's so big. He's taller than me. You're taller than me. Oh. Look at him. Oh my goodness gracious. friend of a family member or whatever, some relation, I don't know, was moving, and they had to get rid of their hounds, and so we got Max the Hound. But then it turns out that they were abusing their animals, like leaving them like chained up outside or some shit. I don't know the story. That's what I was told. So I didn't do investigative reporting on the scene. I'm just going off of like third-hand information. And so now we got Max the Hound. So look at him. Look at that dog. He's rolling the goddamn around. He's getting his fucking pheromones all in my bed sheets. This motherfucker. The year of the dog. That's right, folks. Speaking of the year of the dog, let's watch this. So, Donald, a.k.a. the Orange Man, apparently in March, said that those chanting to hang Mike Pence were actually logical. It's common sense to want to hang the Vice President of the United States. So this is apparently in March, but the guy who got this interview decided, this isn't important. I'm not going to release this until November. This is 2 months after January 6th. And the Orange Man literally said it was common sense to hang Mike Pence. And then this guy was like, that's not news. And now we're finding out about this in November. Anyway, let's watch.
Were you worried about him during that siege? Were you worried about his safety?
No, I thought he was well protected, and I had heard that he was in good shape. Mm-hmm. No, because I had heard he was in very good shape. But no,
you heard those chants. That was terrible. I mean,
he could have. Well, the people were very angry.
They're saying hang Mike
Because
Pence.
it's common sense, John. It's common sense that you're supposed to protect. How can you? If you know a vote is fraudulent, right? Yeah. How can you pass on a fraudulent vote to Congress?
So, I ask you this. Now, again, I personally think, in my opinion, if I had control of the government and I was like not even just the president but ultra dictator of the world, I would throw this Jonathan Karl guy in jail because what he did is a crime against this country. The former president, advocated for an insurrection, right? While it was going on, he was drafting memos to try to get Mike Pence and bully him to do it. And he upheld the National Guard, right? And then 2 months later, he basically says it was common sense for insurrectionists to go into the Capitol building to try to kill the vice president. That's common sense. The idea that anyone would hold on to this audio from March until November, I personally think they should be criminally liable for that. Now, again, I'm just like, obviously I don't have that power, right? And if I, but like, that's fucked up. Like, I just want to say, shame on this motherfucker. Shame on this motherfucker. Oh, I'm going to hold on to this juicy tidbit for what? For a book that like barely anyone's got. Like, come on now. Come the fuck on now. It's ridiculous. And then again, to all those dumb fuck motherfuckers, those people that are dumb as shit fuck assholes, that downplay the severity of January 6th, I would love to hear your take on this one. Every story that comes out about January 6th, it gets worse and worse and worse. So, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, again, this guy's crazy. And again, I just need to say, this reporter, quote unquote, like, come on. Come on. Maxie! Look at this dog. Wah! All right, we're going to try to get into the guest segment. Oh my god, this dog, he's dogging it up. This is my doggy. His name is Max. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. He's having the time of his life. He's having the time of... Look at this fucking angel. This angel. this angel, Max. You're kind of fucking up my shit, man. All right. Okay. Where is this motherfucker? Where is this motherfucker?
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hold the phone for a second here. Can you see my audio or my window? I've got a window.
I can see the window, but I'm hearing an echo right now.
You're hearing an echo. Do you have my show on in another tab? That's usually what it is.
Yeah.
See?
Rookie mistake right there.
Oh, no,
Rookie
that's
mistake.
not even... That's like, if
That's
you've
how it always
never
happens.
interacted with a podcast before, that's the kind of mistake you wouldn't make because most
Mhm.
people think about that. But that's fine. That's okay.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to be listening to the podcast before you actually go on, I think, right? Isn't that the professional decorum? Right?
Yeah, you're supposed to come on like, you don't know what's going on.
Just out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, it's like I called you up. You didn't even know that you were going to be on. That's the idea. Okay, so can you see this? Now I'm going to do an audio test. Like, can you hear this?
Any idea why?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think so. Is the volume all the way up?
It should be.
Because they always kind of give a general.
All right. Well, I can still hear it. I've heard these clips over and over again, so it's
Oh,
fine.
right. Yeah, you were...
I don't need it to be like super loud to hear the, specific words that they're, I already know.
Sure. All right, so let's do the introduction. So, why are people listening to your voice right now? So you are somewhere, I don't know where, you're sitting, presumably you could be standing, but I'm going to make assumptions, like, just for the story. You're sitting, you've got some audio apparatus on, and you're speaking words, and then now there's other people listening to them. Could you explain how this happened?
I know, right? What time to be alive, right?
It really is.
Advent of modern technology right now. Fortunately, I already had this microphone lying around, so that's part of it. But no, I mean, I guess I've been sort of foisted into being somewhat of a public figure over the past couple of months. So
You've been foisted.
yeah, I mean, I guess I sort of foisted myself, but people seem to be interested in the things that I have to post and say. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm just chilling right here. You want me to introduce myself, or?
Yeah, do whatever you want. This is your time to shine.
Okay, all right, for sure. My name is High Progressive. I am a video editor, problematic shit poster, democracy enjoyer, as it says on my bio. I make memes. I post memes. I specifically do a lot of video editing memes on different, ironically, podcasters and content creators and stuff like that. I do editing for Vosh, and I also edit for Conyer full time. Also, so
right.
that's
and they pay you.
That's my name right now. Yeah, it's great actually. It's a great deal. I actually get paid for the work that I do, which is really cool.
So can you get Vouch to have me on his live stream? Is that possible?
I don't know if I have that directive pockets, but I could certainly give it a shot.
All right, well,
if you'd like, I've never actually really talked with him directly, so I don't really know.
So wait, let me get this straight. Let me understand this.
You wouldn't expect it, right?
Yeah. So you work for someone that you've never spoken to. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, in some regards. Yeah, no, I do all the business through his through Tempest and Ryan, who are the other people who work for him. So, he's a very busy man. He has a lot of stuff to do. So.
All right. Well,
I
think I need to start hiring people. I think so that because my least favorite thing is talking to people. You might not know that, given that this is my career, but I hate talking to people. And so that sounds like a good deal. I just get other people to talk for me, so that's pretty good. So you're not having a webcam on. That's your own thing. So people in the chat are asking, but
yeah, I'm doing the face reveal in the future, but I'm going to do that on my own terms. So
yep, there you go. So all right, so we got High Progressive on the phone, folks.
Yep, living up to name.
Yep, there you go. I am also extremely not sober. So you watched the General Strike Summit. Now, on its face, if you know anything about these characters, you're going to be thinking, wow, what a world, right? But you watched it so that you could post clips on Twitter. And so now, the timeline here is you sat down, you wanted to self-harm, And so you put the razor blade down, and you decided, you know what, it's going to meet in the middle. We'll watch the General Strike Summit.
More efficient, yeah.
And so then I saw your threads, of course, and I love making fun of stupid motherfuckers. That's like 90% of what this show is about. It's like 10% leftism and then 90% mocking stupid motherfuckers. So I see the thread, of course. Yesterday, I believe I did a little bit of it. I think.
Yeah, you did.
And so I don't know if
mostly
you saw
day
that.
one stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I reviewed your footage.
It was pretty funny. I mean, like these people, there's like the brand of like, they call themselves left wing, and they think that it's like they read like a book or two or watched like a documentary on Fred Hampton, and that makes them like left wingers.
Judas and the Black Messiah. Yeah. Watches Judas and the Black Messiah once. Yeah, for sure.
Didn't their podcast start like basically when that documentary came out, or biopic or whatever?
Maybe. I think they started the like organization around the same time.
Totally not trying to cash in or anything, not at all.
No, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that like they probably knew about Fred Hampton beforehand, but like I can't like speak to any of the knowledge or motivations behind picking that sort of branding for themselves or whatever.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into this clip. So, Sky Daddy, whom I don't know them too well.
Not anymore. They're not on Twitter.
Yeah, so apparently that got banned from Twitter. Yeah. I didn't even know that happened.
Know them.
Isn't this the person that was like working for the March for Medicare for All, who is explicitly against Medicare for All? Is that this person?
I know I know she came out against Medicare for All.
Okay.
A while ago. I don't remember if she was involved with the march, but like it's generally like it's the same group of people, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Sure.
But I don't
all
know,
right.
Like 100%. Yeah.
So all right. So let's get into this clip. So she's got a theory as to why her Twitter account was banned. And so now I've been banned on Twitter before, and so this theory sounds solid to me. And so let's listen.
Do you have any idea why? Because they always kind of give a generalization.
I know what they said. They said that it was for hate speech.
"Quote unquote" hate speech.
But that's not what it was for. The last tweet, someone said something to me about me hating white people, because I was speaking badly about Kyle Rittenhouse, and I have a lot of people who are on the right.
So, okay, I want to stop it there for a second. Okay, so now imagine this, right? You're on the Fred Hampton leftist show, which is like, we're so far left, we're out of like, we're like in another dimension. Like that's
we're
how
out
far
of left field. Yeah, we're not even in left field anymore. We're on like far left field.
Yeah, no, we're the ultra left. Like it's not like we've invented a new direction, and it's not like up or down or like this is like a fourth dimensional. Yeah. Like that's how left wing they are. Yet she can't go on her Twitter and talk about how Kyle Rittenhouse is bad without her followers yelling at her. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, no, it does say a lot about like the audience that they've cultivated. For sure. But as like you'll see, or as something that I actually didn't clip as much as I wanted to from the days following all of this, is that like a big part of the themes that they pushed here was that we can't exclude people who are on the right. We need to work with people that we don't agree with 100%. You've heard like that kind of talk from
absolutely
them right, and I don't have a problem with that on its face, which is part of the reason why I didn't really post clips of them saying stuff like that. But the problem is like with the implications of what they specifically mean when they say that, because when you see their words being put into practice, they end up inviting some pretty unsavory figures into their space who believe some pretty harmful things.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
not a difference of left and right only. It's like a difference of like good and bad, because not all right wingers are like horrible, but like the right wing logic that they bring on this show to help justify and to help platform is like it's categorically bad in my opinion. So
that's the thing, is like Kyle Rittenhouse to me is like one of those cases where if you support him in any capacity, I feel like you're just a genuinely horrible person, right? So like that to me, it's like, again, like you can be a left winger and then or a right winger and still agree that guy is not. He's not, like, you can maybe say that he was like defending himself, maybe, or like he might get off on that. because of the way our law works. But to say that Kyle Rittenhouse went to Kenosha, Wisconsin with good intentions on that night where he murdered people, like, if you are in that line of thought, you're way out there. Like, you are a bad person.
That's the problem with the right-wing way of thinking about this, is that not only do they say that he was in the right for defending himself, but they lionize him and they turn him into a hero for what he did, and not only justify the things that he did, but also like embrace and, you know, and this has bad implications for the future, like perhaps may want to copy behavior like that in the future.
Absolutely. Especially if Kyle gets off, people are going to know, like, all right, if I'm in this situation, I got to wait until someone does something and then I just have a free pass to murder people. Right? That's it's going to be like a blueprint case. But anyway, so she has fans that are, you know, they love, like, you know, imagine your feed is like Kyle Rittenhouse lover 69 and then Sky Daddy. Like, that's your Twitter following. You got 2 people you're following, and those are the 2. So let's keep listening.
They're about to disagree real hard on something you won't expect where.
Whoa.
And they were sucking his dick. So of course I was disgusted, not for the reason that people think. I believe he was a federal agent and he was placed in there and they were hunting. I don't think the victims, I think they wish there were black victims. They wish there were more black victims. The main victims, like, trust me, like, they knew that there was going to be a problem and it was set up to pretty much take our rights. So when they're acting like he's a hero, I'm like, no, I'm scared about the president this set. I don't give a fuck about Kyle Rittenhouse. He can go fuck himself. And but I was sitting there saying that he was a crisis actor and that he was a federal agent and that this is just all take our rights because the CIA don't stop doing CIA shit. People were like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Bro, if you look at the past of what they do to movements, if you look at the past of what they've done to revolutionaries, if you look how they infiltrated and co-opted, if you look at the media and what they have done in the media, the CIA didn't stop doing this shit. Operation Mockingbird didn't stop. This is things that are known. So once that happened, some random bot account came and baited me. I fell for it. I was just being sarcastic. And he was like, oh, you hate all white people. You're just another racist black. And I was like, hell yeah, death to whitey, LOL.
That's pretty funny. I will say that's pretty funny.
Wow.
So now, like, all right, maybe.
So okay, all right. So
put up in punchline. It's just so good.
Like, that's, I will say that is pretty funny. Death to whitey is pretty funny. But okay, so this is actually, I didn't, you know, I don't know if I've seen this clip. I'm not sure. But okay, so Kyle Rittenhouse actually works for the FBI.
CIA,
or
I think
the FBI and the CIA. I think
Did she say FBI? I know they said. Hold
on, I'm rewinding.
Dick. So of course I was disgusted, not for the reason that people believe he was a federal agent and he was placed in there and they were
federal agent.
Okay, federal agent. Okay,
Federal
so it could be both.
Because she did say, they said FBI, or they said CIA later, and I remember people pointing that out, that like they're conflating, like, because the CIA takes care of like foreign operations and the FBI is like domestic operations.
Yeah.
So, like,
no, I mean, either way, like, I think it's possible, right? Like,
it's possible, but
it's
possible. Still on no basis,
right? Like, it is like,
no,
you know, it is, it like, you know, you could jump off the Empire State Building and then survive. Like, that's also possible.
It's a big cushion at the bottom,
but it's going to be pretty difficult to pull it off. But okay, so Kyle Rittenhouse is a CIA agent. He's undercover, sent there to hunt down black people. Now, aside from the CIA part, that sounds about accurate to me. But so he went there and shot people as a way so that they would bait Sky Daddy to tweet death to whitey. Like, is that what she's saying? That, like, is she saying that, like, the CIA is monitoring her feed or anything, that, like, anyone that watches? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if, like, they're specifically implying that, like, the whole thing was set up from the start to deplatform them. I don't know if that's necessarily the implication here, though.
Sure.
But I think that, like, the idea that, like, the members of the Fred Hampton leftists or people are, like, up against, like, you know, what would be, like, you know, sort of like the left-wing equivalent of the deep state, like, trying to, like, you know, push down, like, real working class activists, is, like, sort of a narrative that you find running through all of these conferences that they had.
Yeah, that's one of the other things, is like, they have a podcast that, like, and they get more viewers than me, of course, right? But, like, they have a podcast that maybe, like, pulls like a couple thousand views or whatever, and they think that, like, they're on the CIA watch list, and the CIA is like, the CIA bot account or something that baited you into banning yourself or whatever. You know, it's like, what?
Yeah, well, of course, that's the problem with that's one of the big problems that I have with this group and with like the narratives that they push is that like everything is like a big conspiracy from the top to thwart them. And what they do is they set like really high goals for themselves, like a general strike or like a force the vote thing, or well, what they're doing is they're making it even bigger and bigger because now they want to do an international general strike thing. But basically, what they're doing is they're setting these goals that are like really, really high for themselves, and then when they ultimately, as was expected, don't, achieve those goals, then what they do is they have an audience that's disappointed, that's frustrated, that's really angry, and the only way that they can blame it is from some sort of outside force that's not just like, well-intentioned, good people, regular people who don't like what they say, but it's the CIA, it's the FBI, it's COINTELPRO.
Right, but it's also like they're also paying Hassan Piker and the young
and he's in on it too, exactly.
Right, like everyone who disagrees with me on the internet is paid by the CIA. I mean, that sounds good to me. I would buy that. I mean, like personally, because there's a lot of people that like Hassan. He's really got some bizarre opinions. I really do think that the only answer to that is the CIA is paying him, and like.
It's the only possible explanation.
It really
exactly.
Is.
That's the thing.
When you really think about it.
Exactly.
All right, let's finish this clip off. Let's see if there's any more gold.
So now I'm like, all right, maybe it was algorithmic, but I kind of knew. But because when I'm talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, this is what's suspicious. When I was talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse, before they suspended me, they logged me out my account.
Whoa!
And if I just got suspended for hate speech, my business account on IG has been deleted.
Whoa!
My business has been deleted. That account.
Okay, so it's happening like all over the place.
Now I don't know how technology works, right? I'm pretty dumb. I'm not Generation Z. I'm a millennial, so that means I'm stupid.
Boomers in chat. Let's go.
Yep. And so is it possible that like her Instagram account was like connected to the Twitter and the Twitter being deleted the Instagram? Is that possible?
No, so like your Instagram could be connected to your Facebook or whatever because those are the same company. Twitter and Instagram are different companies. However, though, what I think is very likely possible is that Sky Daddy is a dumbass and posts stupid, crazy stuff that borders on terms of service violations, conspiracy theories, and hate speech on every platform.
Sure, and then like she just didn't log into Instagram and then like logged in.
That's why, yeah.
And then it would probably I mean, like that's the thing though, but it's like. But she's just going out as the CIA. Like the CIA is going after Sky Daddy, instead of literally anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's just like it creates this mindset where like nothing that you do can be at fault, nothing that you say could be wrong, none of your prescriptions or policy positions or anything that you say online is your fault. You should be absolved of any consequences because there's always this bigger, grander conspiracy of what they would probably more what they would label as like the establishment, right? And that's like, unfortunately, like the quote unquote establishment is becoming like the left wing QAnon at this point because that's like the code word that they all use to refer to like whatever it is that is not only keeping the working class in general down, but it is also keeping down the truth tellers, quote unquote, and the independent media and the independent journalists and what they mean by that.
And the worst part about it though is like the establishment. Yeah, like it exists, but like they will direct all their energy to everyone but the establishment, right? Yeah. Like the one tool that we have to fight the establishment of the Democratic Party is to primary them. And that's the one thing that they're like, nope.
I refuse to engage. Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. It's election brain. It's election brain. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these accounts became, at least what I've heard, a lot of these accounts became like big accounts, like Socialist MMA, as the result of having like viral tweets during the primary.
Sure.
And during like the election. And during election time, you're able to get away with saying some like really, like obvious, truths on Twitter. And you can go viral for that stuff. You get a bunch of followers. Exactly. And what they do with that is they still have like this mindset that like the DNC is going after them specifically because like it's almost like a trauma response from like the primary because of the mindset that you're in because you're in that one-on-one interaction where to be fair, the DNC is doing a lot to undermine progressive insurgencies in the electoral in the electoral arena. But what they do is they extrapolate that like further into like a more personal sense that gives them like a sense of like more importance than they actually have.
Exactly. No, absolutely.
It's primary brain. I think I've heard it described as before. It's just like a really easy way to like cop out of any sort of electoral action, which while isn't like necessarily 100% anything, these people like delegitimize and blame everything on for like people doing like electoral actions, when really that is like one of the most important ways that you're able to like gain power. And actually Shahid Buttar was speaking about that
we'll get into that
later
one
on in the conference, and we actually have a clip of that.
Hell yeah.
Of that,
I mean, we can go into that one right now.
That one. Sure, if you want to do that, and then I would recommend doing the Shahid Buttar clip and then probably like scroll back up. I don't know if you want to do them in chronological order. I don't know how
chronological
much it
order, whatever.
It might be easier to do that, but like if you want to just skip to that because it's related, we could do that.
Yeah, we can just do this. That way people get the, they're on the same track here.
Get the gist. Yeah, we're talking about the same topic.
Day 3? It's in day 2, isn't it?
Day 2, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking. All right.
Yeah, it's
Oh, the Max Blumenthal moments are going to be good, though. Oh, my God. All right.
Oh, they're always good. Yes.
Okay.
So this is where Shahid Buttar actually makes a point that, like, I don't think he was speaking... I don't remember exactly if he was specifically talking about, like, electoralism here, but he was talking about Ilhan Omar and the squad, like, in positive terms.
Well, yeah, that's because that's the angle...
Not part of the establishment.
Like, he is one of those, like, classes of people that's, like, trying to actually primary establishment Democrats.
His whole focus is electoral. He won't shut the fuck up about primarying Nancy Pelosi.
And that's like, I don't. That's
like
why it's so weird that they brought him on. Like, and it's so weird. Like, he probably just goes on every show that will. Maybe I should invite him. I don't know.
A lot of well, to be fair, I mean, I don't know how well a lot of like the guests here or the guests anywhere vet the places they go.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if you're like higher profile, like Bernie definitely vets the shows that he goes on with like a lot of scrutiny, as was like evidenced by his appearance on Crystal Kyle and Friends, where he only talked to Crystal instead of Kyle. So like there's more rigorous standards for certain people like that. But like people, if you're like at a lower level of prominence, like Shahid Buttar or whatever, you might not. I don't know exactly what the protocol is.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, part of it might be desperation, and part of it might be just general like not having any knowledge of like the internet scene or something like that.
Absolutely. All right. So
I don't necessarily blame them.
So in this clip, Shahid Buttar is like talking about how primaries are good or whatever. And according to your caption, someone is just yelling, like with the mic muted. And
yeah, so look at the top left. The person on the top left, I was alerted to this.
Might be some.
Nope. Go on.
He starts talking about Ilhan Omar and basically says that she's not as bad as like Nancy Pelosi and the establishment Democrats. In part of a more broad section where he was talking about how it's important not to cede electoral ground to the right, and also important to have progressive people in Congress, because going through like the policy route is one way in which we can affect change and sustain change. So
all right, so let's get into it. So basic common sense nuance meets the General Strike Summit.
Might be some people that people describe as progressive politicians who want to be the next Pelosi. Ilhan Omar does not. There's a difference between someone who takes heat and someone who rides away.
She's so mad.
And you can see voices taking heat. Alex Morse took heat. I took heat. Ilhan took heat. People take heat when they challenge power.
This is true.
And that's one way you can tell who might be fighting on your behalf and who's not. Rashida takes mad heat. They came after her.
I love how so she freaks the fuck out. She's very upset. She's pouting.
She's very upset.
Like her entire worldview has been shattered. But everyone else doesn't know how to react. Like they're all like,
it's all blank. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not like saying anything like that's probably particularly interesting to them. I don't know, because that's another part of like the Fred Hampton leftists is like a big part of their brand is like not only bashing on electoral politics, but also bashing on the squad, who are
of course
the people in Congress who are closest to our ideology. However,
I think they are like
the brunt of the attacks.
Primary focus for them for a while was like the hashtag fraud squad bullshit.
Fraud squad. Yep. It's all hashtags. Your ideology is hashtags.
Yep. When you're in this activism. All right, so let's keep going.
Yeah. He has some more
in Detroit, and there's this distinction also, I would say, between paths. And this is one reason why I find Cori Bush so inspiring. She's a nurse who was driven to politics as an expression of her commitment to public health, basically. And that's a very different political genesis than someone who came to Congress having been a member of a city council, right? For people for whom politics is merely a career or like some game to be observed, as distinct from a collective exercise in liberation and trying to express some solidarity with each other and the future that we all share. There's a vast distinction between those kinds of approaches. And I think it frankly reveals itself in everything from the rhetoric people use to the policies they promote to the actions that they show up at or don't. I think you can see the proof in the pudding. And I think to lump all politicians in that category is somewhat both over and under inclusive. It's ultimately there are career and dynasty politicians, and there is a legion of people who are challenging them. I am far from alone. In almost every congressional district, there is someone fighting that establishment.
I just love how like he's basically just doing an ad for himself. Like this is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is pumping himself up because I'm sure that he wants to do something similar to his primary again.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran in the same thing again. Just...
that's like one thing. That's something he wants to do, though. You know what I mean? So he's not going to trash talk it because he understands like the actual importance of it. As clownish as Shahid Buttar can be sometimes, like he understands that like it is important. Like he had like an idea. For all of his faults, at the very least, he had an idea for like how to actually change power in Congress. He said, "Hey, let's get the Speaker of the House. Let's primary her. Let's get her out." Because Nancy Pelosi does hold a lot of power when it comes to what bills are seen in Congress. What sort of rules that they have for the bills and like what sort of stuff gets out of what do you call it, the bills that come out of the commissions or whatever. Like she does have a lot of power in that regard, and she has stopped progressive priorities on a certain in a lot of different ways. So like he at least understood that there was like had like a concrete plan of action to try and do it. It failed spectacularly, but at least he had like something specific to try.
And then if Nancy Pelosi retires, like he's in that slot where he's like, I've been at it, I've been campaigning for like fucking 4 or 5 years. I have a decent chance of just taking it. But like, So do they respond at all? Or does he just keep doing it?
I think the rest of it is still talking, but like, that was like the gist of like a lot of the stuff that he was talking about on that section of the panel, and I thought it was actually like one of the more decent sections of the whole summit, and I want to also stress that like the whole summit like wasn't like as as crazy as the clips that I put out there.
Okay, now we're getting into the defense.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be unfair because like I don't like being negative and I don't like having to put people on blast like this all the time.
Sure.
But unfortunately, it just seems to have become it just seems to have become like a necessity at this point because like the clips that I did show, like they're pretty fucking bad. That's the thing. Like I don't care if you're doing something with people that I don't like. And I explained this in a thread on Twitter. I'm not trying to like say that you can't do these things for the left. I'm trying to say that these clips embolden things that they encapsulate things that I do not think are moral or just or that we should have as part of the movement. I don't think that talking about how vaccines don't work and spreading that sort of information. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's good. I don't think that predicating your support for workers on whether or not they believe that there's the Uyghur genocide happening in China or chemical weapons.
Is that what Jackson Hinkle was talking about? Because I'm down to get into that
later. Yeah, these are things that I think are like just wholly toxic to the movement and only like reinforce negative attitudes and like all of the worst things that like the tankyisms on the left and that kind of stuff. Like,
absolutely.
One thing that I hate more than anything is like misinformation and shit like that. I think it's brain rot.
And then like it's just the litmus testing. Like I'm fine working with Kyle Rittenhouse and Boogaloo Boys, but if you disagree with me on one random thing about foreign policy, then that means you're a shit lib. It's like. It's
and it
so
all feeds
strange.
into that narrative. Yeah, you're working for the establishment. Like, and they say that, and their fans say this stuff like explicitly all the time. It's not just like, oh, you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. It's, oh, you're wrong, and you're pulling water for the establishment, and you work for the DNC, and you're a CIA op, and you're evil. Like these things are like brainworms. Like I don't think these are healthy things for a movement to be predicated on.
So that being said, though, I want to get into the Jackson Hinkle clip because now, again, for those of you that don't know, I debated this guy last Wednesday. And so he's been doing like this Cringe tour all over Twitter. He got ratioed epic style. He deleted his tweets.
Oh, yeah.
Then he highly edited Richard Wolff's video to make it sound like he agreed with him when he didn't. So this guy's been doing a lot of he's been picking up the pieces after I demolished him. And, it was a brutal expose that I honestly, to be honest with you, I had a dream the other night about, Jackson Hinkle crying, and I do feel bad about it. So with that being said, this is the latest installation of his Cringe tour. He's going on the General Strike Summit to talk about apparently how Hassan and Vaush are actually like CIA agents or whatever because they disagree with him on China or something. So let's watch.
If you like, we all deal in the online space, so we know who the actors are that are constantly attacking us, right? But if you think about it, the reasons why people like Hassan Piker, like Vaush, are so scared about the prospects of a general strike or general strike summit even.
So, okay, already the idea that Hassan or Vaush would be against a general strike to me. Now, again, I don't watch those streamers, but I know enough about them to know that they would be supportive of a general strike. However, you can't just do a general strike. All right, y'all, let's do it. Like, you got to build up to it. You got to have a roadmap, right?
Yeah, no, this is like one other huge problem of like the way that they conduct themselves is that like they'll wrap themselves up in like these like moral terms or not, whatever, like these in these like big causes like Medicare for All march or general strike. And if you are against them specifically, you are against those things. If you're against the march for Medicare for All march because of the people that are in it or the things that they've done or like whatever mishaps they've had, you don't just hate their their section of the movement, you hate Medicare for All. Same thing with this. If you don't like what they're doing right now, you disagree with the general strike in general. You're not a leftist. You don't care about that kind of stuff.
It's really bizarre
in that regard.
Like it's bizarre. Like, and it's like I can acknowledge that Jackson Hinkle probably agrees with Medicare for All. But that being said, I still think he's stupid, right? You can think Vaush is stupid, but to lie, like I'm not gonna go out there and say Jackson Hinkle doesn't actually support Medicare for All because it doesn't matter to me. Like it doesn't. I don't care if he supports it or not. And two, like I'd rather stick to the things that I know he is dumb on. I'd rather play a clip of him saying something stupid like I'm doing right now and then make fun of him rather than make fun of him for like, you wore blue socks in 4th grade and now I'm going to make fun. Like, I don't know what you were wearing. But anyway, let's go.
Are the same reasons why they're scared about people finding out the truth about what's happening in China? What's happening in Syria, for example, right?
Okay. I have to pause it.
Did you see Nick? He throws his arms up every time
someone
it's like truth. It's really funny. Yeah,
it's really great. It's really good because so now let's be very honest about this. We need to be very clear. Imagine you're on the sidewalk, right? And you're waiting for a traffic light and you make conversation with someone next to you. Now, 99.9999% of the time, or like you're at a bar, whatever, you're talking to a random person, right? If you ask them what they think about China and Syria, right? They're going to go, huh? Right.
Yeah, you go up to someone in the bar. You're like, I was wondering what your opinion on the OPCW chemical weapons attack in Syria cover-up is, and what they did to the whistleblowers. Like,
they're gonna go what?
They're gonna go what?
Right
yeah.
Now, if you ask someone how they feel about a general strike, maybe 98% of the time you're gonna get a what, but you might get more people to go like, oh yeah, I'd be down with a general strike. That sounds good. But like they're linking these like common sense things to these like bizarre, outlandish, like super duper niche foreign policy like theories, and it's just like. Okay,
that's one of the big. That's one of the huge problems that I have with this, though, is that like it's not just like that we have people who are in this movement or that are trying to push for a general strike. It's not just that we disagree with them, but it's that they are linking these things with the message of a general strike. Like it would be like if somebody was like. Having like a general strike and they went up, in front of all the workers and they were talking about how like, actually we need to reduce the size of government and QAnon is a bunch of crazy pedophiles and we need to destroy them. They start saying like all this crazy conspiracy theories. It's like, not only is it optically bad, but I think that it's just, I think that it's just bad to like mix like those sort of things that aren't not only aren't relevant, but are again, like really harmful.
And it's like it's the same thing where you have like anti-vaxxers at the March for Medicare for All. It's like
that they like platform and promote them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like it's one thing if some guy in the crowd has these bizarre beliefs, but they're still there to show up and they're like, that's one thing. But it's the other if the guy speaking is like, how do you feel about the Uyghur genocide? You don't support the general. It's like, all right. So, but we're only 24 seconds
Not believe Yankee imperialist lies.
All
right. It's not. I don't know if anyone's here for that.
Well, personally, I'm here for it. So let's watch.
Finding out the truth about what's happening in China.
The truth.
What's happening in Syria, for example, right? They don't want you to know the fact that in China right now, there is not a mass genocide happening with Uyghur people, right? In fact, those lies actually hurt Uyghur people who are trying to find some sort of like economic.
I want to read
vocational schooling, baby. Like I know I can recognize all the talking points right here. Like I already.
This is the kind of show we need to have more, which consolidate working class. Yeah, working class people care about the fucking Syria chemical weapons, and make more awareness within the working class, and simultaneously help grassroots comrades to work on the ground. You ever notice how they only post comments that are like super like ass kissy? That's one of my favorite parts.
Oh man, that actually makes it even worse because there was a comment where they were like the vaccines violate the Nuremberg laws.
Oh,
have you ever heard that
God.
talking point? There was that actually is interesting that you brought that up because they do curate the comments. I believe that like Streamlabs or whatever has like an option where you can pick up like and put certain comments on the screen. And the fact that they chose to put that comment on there is actually very interesting now that I think about it, because when Bree was on, I actually sent in a donation asking where Virgil was, and it didn't go on the screen.
So they stole your money. Get a refund.
No, I should. I could. I don't know who to contact about that, but
Well, you got to contact the CIA, of course.
No, I mean, I could just, I have a financial stake in the Fred Hampton Leftists now, and I want to make sure that I know, they have transparency, and I know that the money is going towards, a strike fund, whether it be the Kellogg's Union or some other, sort of thing. Now I have some skin in the game. Now I can, ask for financial transparency.
Yeah, you've got a voting share.
This is my call. This is my call to you, Fred Hampton Leftists. Please let me know where all the super chats that were coming in over the weekend were going, because that's actually.
I think they're going to Virgil, Texas. Actually,
they're going to Texas.
Virgil, Texas.
Oh, Virgil. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. All right, for sure. Well, no, yeah, it might be the Virgil, Texas, on the Run Fund or whatever.
I mean, he's going to need a lot of money eventually. All right, so let's continue. Jackson Hinkle is on a real one. He's exposing the lies of Hassan Piker,
who are trying to find some sort of like economic prosperity by working the jobs that they do. They don't want you to know the truth in Syria either. They want you to buy the imperialist myths surrounding Syria that, Bashar al-Assad is like trying to destroy the country or something like that, when in fact what they're doing is trying to
it's just another one of those talking points. They want you to believe Bashar al-Assad is harming his people.
And have taken over different parts of the country, and they're committing horrific acts against civilian populations. And what they're trying to do is rebuild their country. And that's why Dana Stroul, who's now working within the Biden administration as like a special envoy or something like that on Syria in particular.
What does this have to do with a general
She
strike?
has stated explicitly that the United States has taken over 1/3 of Syria with the help of the Kurds to secure the hydrocarbon-rich region of the country, to cut off the Syrian people from vital resources that are, very important to the country's economy, like oil, natural gas, wheat, etc.
I know he's talked about this before.
They don't want you to know this stuff because this is the truth.
So Hassan Piker doesn't want you to know about the hydrocarbon, whatever the fuck, oil, minerals, and
So that's my problem. That's my big problem with all this is, again, like anytime someone's against the summit or whatever organization that they're doing, it's not just that they don't like it, but it's also that they're like connected to this big like conspiracy. Did you hear the logic that he was bringing forth there? It was Hassan and Vosh are against the general strike.
This is all one sentence, right? It's not he's bouncing from idea to idea or whatever. Like, this is all like directly in one sentence.
It feeds into that same frame of logic. Let me connect the dots for you. Hassan and Vosh are afraid of a general strike, he says.
Yep.
They're afraid of it for the same reason that they're afraid of people learning the truth about the Uyghur genocide or the Assad chemical attacks in Duma. And then he says that's also connected to the same reason why Joe Biden is supporting the Kurds in their aggression against the Syrian government and hoarding resources for the United States. Like
hydrocarbon and wheat farms, the wheat farms.
We gotta, yeah, exactly. We gotta protect those hydrocarbon resources. Like, we're already so far removed from Hassan Piker and Vosh within just like, a minute and 10 seconds that like any reasonable person listening to this should know that it's nonsensical. But it's part of this dialogue tree that they've constructed that's just so insane. And it just feeds into like this big broad conspiracy that justifies their failure.
And they post these comments.
What are the comments
Preach! This is the truth. Now
Jackson
I might
Hinkle,
have short-term memory loss because I'm high, but like imagine like someone actually trying to pull together, and then like imagine there's a human being out there, right? And they're watching this, right? And the gears are turning, and they're like, now I finally understand why Vaush didn't read my super chat. Like there are people out there that like probably get that. So let's finish this clip up.
There's a reason those guys get banned in Vaush's chat, and they get their messages shown.
Only brings further solidarity for working class people all across the world, right? And it's not that they're like directly necessarily benefiting from the same corporations that are funding these myths and these lies, but they just buy what the mainstream media tells them. And
so
he says it's not necessarily that they're being directed by these corporations to tell these lies. Why? Like, they're basically buying into the framework. Like, it's just like this spurious logic, like that where they insinuate something, but then they claim that they're not like saying that. Like, they heavily imply some sort of conspiracy when they go, but no, I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about.
My dog.
Your dog okay?
Yeah, he's woofing. Woof.
You have how many dogs do you have? Do you just have one?
I have one dog, but my family also has dogs, so sometimes they woof through the walls at each other.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, Jackson Hinkle is really good at this. Like, because I debated him on last Wednesday, and he would do these like we were talking about like a specific Netflix strike, and he would bring up these like, the real threat to the working class, neo-Marxism is scientific knowledge, and like I'm like,
yeah. He brought that debate to like a really weird place. Like I was listening to it a little bit before I came on here, and basically like he was trying to argue that the Netflix strikers were part of the professional managerial class.
And they were working for corporations, and they were trying to
and
I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
No, he started talking about how like if you paid the Netflix strikers who make $1 million a year, if you paid them less, then would that make your subscription costs go down? Do you remember that part?
Yeah, and then it's like, and the fact that they're not abdicating their salaries.
Unrelated. Yeah. Oh my God. It's really weird. Like he just like is able to go to like these really weird places with his logic that like don't necessarily make sense, because like I know the whole professional managerial class talking line, and like the problem with like it's almost like the same as like the labor aristocracy in Marxist terms, I think. But like the problem with the professional managerial class isn't that they make a lot of fucking money, because what they make is technically pennies in relation to like Elon Musk or the other oligarchs. The problem with the managerial professional managerial class is that they as Thomas Frank describes it in Listen Liberal, is that they fundamentally buy into like this market ideology of capitalism and don't see any other like solutions outside of it, and that's how we have the status quo of the the duopoly that we have now or whatever, is because of these very culturally controlling hegemonic forces of political insiders who are connected to like these very well paid upper class people, and that they control the narrative like that, and they control like the policy prescriptions of the party and stuff like that, and that they have disproportionate power in that way, not because they make a ton of money. Like, and you could see that brings him to like a really weird place of logic where he's
and that's the other thing.
You can pay less for Netflix if they're paid less, like
right.
What?
And then like he creates these like bizarre straw man litmus tests that don't exist, and if you don't follow my exact like fan fiction to the letter, then you're secretly a parasite. And like during my debate with him, I was like really high, right? So I was because I didn't take him seriously and I just wanted to have a good time. So I was smoking weed, and so he would go off on these like 5-minute tangents, and a lot of people got like a little upset with me that I would just let him continue. But my style of debate is I like to let people like just show how stupid they are. I do like the give them enough rope strategy, and I feel like that paid off, because I got a lot of his followers coming into my stream saying like, what the fuck was that? He would just keep talking over you and about stupid garbage. So like that's my strategy, and like he will go on and on. It's like very Alex Jones style, or like he just like continues.
Oh, he just says weird things,
right?
Like, there was a lot of times I remember that you were in the debate and you were just like, I'm sorry, I don't understand, or whatever, because he would just like say these really weird things to try and make his point, and like it doesn't make sense if you're sober. So like if you're stoned, it's gonna make it even doubly harder to understand.
Yeah, no, because by the time he like got to the end of the sentence and like let me speak, I was like trying to remember what I said to like bring this pain upon me, right?
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't
be like, wait a minute. So you're arguing that because they didn't organize every Netflix worker that like their strike's illegitimate? Like, and then he would just keep moving on to like these different unrelated points. It was just very strange.
And every time I tried to bring it back to the actual strike, he would like laugh and get upset that like it's like, so you didn't understand that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't, but that's not. I don't care about it.
That's the thing that unfortunately Jackson is like very good at doing, or at least he has seemed to have learned to be very good at doing, is controlling the debate. And that's something that you have to do, is like he had you on the defensive a lot of the time, it seemed, because he's the one asking you all the questions, you know what I mean? Whereas where it was like in the Vosh debate, he was on the defensive because Vosh kept asking all these clarifying questions about whether or not he knew who wrote the specific report, or whether or not this was done by like a certain group of experts or something like that. So, I'm glad that you were able to at least convince some of his followers otherwise, though, because I'm sure a lot of them follow him for very different, varying different reasons. Some of them,
that's my thing.
Some of them are anti-establishment. Some of them learned about him from Kyle. Like, there are a lot of different people for their very different reasons who could be turned off by a variety of things that he says, I'm guessing.
I like to play defensive personally. I think it's fun. I really enjoy letting people speak. Because like one, I get to learn, like the thought process. But for me, when I debate someone, I'm never really debating them. I'm not really interested in debating that person. I'm more so just trying to get my point across to their audience. So I don't
important as well.
Yeah, I don't really because I know I'm not going to change Jackson's mind. I know he's going to declare victory and like do the Trumpian bullshit. Like I couldn't imagine how cringe the cringe tour would end up being. But like I knew he was going to do stupid shit. So my goal is just to get some decent moments in, like the ending where I call him out for reading his point scoring. That was one of people's favorites. But I
haven't
just
gotten to that
love
part yet, but I'm excited.
It's good. Yeah, I just love letting these people talk. Because I feel like any somewhat rational person who listens to these people talk extended periods of time is just gonna get confused and nope out, and that seems to be what happened, I think. But anyway,
it's the reason that Jimmy Dore doesn't do debates. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He only goes on shows that he agrees
he'll
with.
He'll say something really stupid. Yeah, exactly.
What other clips should we do? Do we want to get into this guy?
Yeah, we got a few minutes left. Let's actually this guy had some of the most interesting moments.
He also should we play his diss track as well? Do we want to play the diss track, because I have that one open?
Yeah, so there's this one, and then there's another clip of him. Below it you have to click the sub tweet underneath
this one.
Yeah, so there's another one below that.
Oh, these are
start. Yeah, so go above the picture. Above the picture. Yeah, do that clip first, and then I'll direct you after that. So this guy. Right. So every time that they had a panel, and I was listening to them, sometimes there would be one person on the panel that was that really stood out as someone who was particularly unhinged that I would have to look for, because I knew that they were going to say something outrageous. The prior day was that Professor Anthony Zenkis guy who said that Hazan and TYT were being paid by some outside actor.
Sure.
And this time it was this gentleman who was saying some very wacky stuff here. We'll get more into what his background is and all that stuff in a second, but why don't you introduce this clip and
yeah, so now apparently I just want to say, in fact, let me bring this open as well. What was this guy's Twitter handle? I think I have it. This guy apparently follows me on Twitter.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had never heard of him before. Yep, here it is. Okay, hold up. So I'd never heard of him before.
So the big thing about this guy is he's one of those guys that's you got to support smaller creators and independent YouTubers. So that might be why he follows you. That might be part of it, because you're a smaller YouTuber.
Yeah, I don't.
One of his big things.
Now he might have interacted with me at some point, but I don't know. But
or it might be a hate follow. Yeah, I don't know.
So he's going to call out the corporatists and, expose the establishment shill shit liberals. So let's watch.
Fuck up Hassan Piker and Kyle Kalinske a little bit.
Let's
So
go.
Give me a second here, guys. I'm going to make my case
Oh, God.
here.
We have Comrade Misty here, which is one of the most...
Yeah, she talked about Assange. There's a
Oh.
clip of her down here. This whole section actually was supposed to be about linking a general strike with freedom of press rights and like journalist rights and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it ended up just being like a Julian Assange circle jerk for like the most part of it.
Of course. I mean, like, this is like a greatest hits of like...
The greatest hits of the Dum Dum Left. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
this is really like they got them all in the same place, it seems. But all right, let's start this over and let's listen to what Robert
listen to the
has
first part.
to say.
Fuck up Hassan Piker and Kyle Kalinske a little bit.
Let's
So
go.
Give me a second here, guys. I'm going to make my case here. I'm going to just digress for a second to talk to you guys about what the game is that we're playing here and what we're up against. You have to understand that the oligarchs and capitalism in general is a multi-tentacled organism, that it's going to use its propaganda arm and it's going to use its censorship arm against us at every turn. So we have to understand that that is what we're up against, and we have to fight those two battles. Now, how do we do that, right? They're essentially, their game plan is turning their misinformation and repackaging it as facts. That's the propaganda arm. And then they're going to turn all of our truth tellers and our facts into misinformation.
Oh my God, we have Socialist MMA, which is also one of the Fred Hampton leftist people.
Oh yeah,
that's really good. Hell yes!
Oh my God, I am hyped to have Rob here. Oh my God, yeah. So we're gonna look at a clip from one of his videos later, but like, yeah, apparently Socialist MMA is the one who found this guy and really liked his video and brought him on. Yeah, so like,
I just want to like just spoiler or like teaser. Like we got a diss track here. Like
this is the video. There's a video
that's gonna be next up. But
yeah, there's a video that Nick saw that apparently interested him enough to bring him on. So this guy, yeah. So keep going. He's saying that the mainstream media and the establishment's fighting against us, and they're going to turn our facts into misinformation. So he's doing some 1984 shit.
Imagine like Socialist MMA though like sends him a message and like Robert's checking his inbox and it's like, hey, big fan of your music. Do you want to come on to the General Strike Summit?
Big fan of your slam poetry. Yeah.
Succinctly, that's exactly what they're going to do. So we fight both of those battles. How? We have to protect our journalists. That means that we have to protect people like Julian Assange, make sure that he doesn't have anything more done to him, make sure that he doesn't get extradited.
Now you'll notice that these people never bring up like Chelsea Manning or anything, like
not anymore. Not anymore.
Before
maybe,
but like now it's just like who really? It's all about Julian.
Well, it's all team sports. That's the thing. Like Julian Assange is still a hero, and Chelsea Manning is not cool anymore because What happened? She was on the Intercept podcast a while ago, and I think
and she also did this public
Julian
breakup
Assange
post
didn't
with Glenn Greenwald.
Or did she said someone like was very irresponsible with like how they handled the information or whatever, or the confidentiality. I don't remember if it was Assange or Greenwald, but yeah,
I think it was Greenwald, but
yeah,
it could have been both.
I don't remember who exactly, but yeah, she spoke out against someone who they're a fan of, and automatically like they don't talk about her anymore. Like,
exactly. All right, so let's get deep in. So there's the tentacle monster, like we're in a hentai manga, so let's go.
But beyond that, it means going after people that smear our good journalists, which is why I go out there and body TYT regularly, because they...
the guy, this main character syndrome, it's like, yeah, some guy that you've never heard of, I go out there, I body TYT. Like,
yeah.
Well,
he has like a Fight Club brand, yeah. So.
Oh, it's so
against
good.
Aaron Mate on the Syria OPCW cover-up.
Oh,
I don't just go out there and call Cenk a bestiality fiend because he is. I call him a bestiality fiend because he's an idiot who went after a journalist that I can't allow.
As you can tell, big tech is censoring him at this moment.
Yeah,
the CIA actually paid like their ISP to like slow it because they're like, whoa, they're watching this. They got the magnifying glass or whatever. They're really into this, so they're like, we got.
They did have a section with Ron Placone where they talked about the telecom companies, so maybe that adds up.
Oh my god! All right, yo, this is like I could do this. I could do another one of these tomorrow. But okay, let's keep going.
Anyone to smear. The other battle that we have to make sure we do is we have to eat the propagandists. And if you guys watch my show, that's like my whole entire formula. Is I'm going to prop up and boost the people that are doing great work. But if you're a propagandist, look out. I'm going to teach all of my viewers how to spot your bullshit, and I'm going to eat you alive. And you guys know I made basically my entire YouTube career or whatever. I'm not a careerist, but my entire repertoire is like bodying Kyle Kalinske on bad things. And the reason for that is that he used to be decent, but recently he's gone ultra bad faith actor. And guys, that's also where I draw the line, just to digress for a second. I don't go after people if I disagree with them simply because I disagree with them. I go after them if I think they're bad actors, if I think they're coming to some sort of subject in bad faith. That's
so. But does he ever expound
them
upon like what bad faith means?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I only have 2 minutes 20 seconds on the clip, so I mean, I can only do so much.
So okay, where are we going next? Are we doing the diss track?
I just think it's really funny that he says like these people. It's not just because I disagree with them; it's because they're bad faith actor. While he also talks about like fucking Jenk being like a bestiality artist and like how he bodies them on a regular basis and how they're propagandists and stuff like that. It's like fucking Garfield looking at himself meme. Like
right. So so you did a little deep dive into this guy. Should we like scroll down?
Yeah, so if you click the next tweet,
this one?
This dude had a video. Yeah, this dude had a video on Rockfin saying that he got banned off YouTube for, quote, discussing bodily autonomy, vaccines, and ivermectin.
Of course.
And then he goes on to explain how YouTube is wrong for banning a doctor from talking about vaccines. And as we later find out, he's actually a chiropractor, i.e., not an actual doctor. Now, it is funny because like chiropractors like do actually like engage in pseudoscience for the most part, but like this shit is actually like it goes like even deep. Like chiropractors actually like are known for like peddling like. In combination with the bullshit that they peddle, like they also are like big anti-vaccine activists.
Yeah, they'll like peddle like the herbal supplements they can buy in bulk for 30 cents, but they'll sell you like in capsule form for $10 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing too that I was gonna say is that like it's also really bad because a lot of this like a lot of these guys, especially like the anti-vax types, like subscribe to people on fallacious appeals to authority, where they'll say like I'm a doctor and that's why you should listen to me about vaccines, but like they're not actually like a like a virologist or a doctor that actually works with vaccines. The same thing with COVID. They say that someone is credentialed as a doctor, but they're not actually someone who works with vaccines or diseases or anything like that. It's a really common thing that unfortunately dupes a lot of really gullible people, and this guy's another in a line of series of people who do grift on the same premise, which is something I think is really harmful, and I that's another reason I really think they shouldn't have platformed this guy. But it does get worse. So if you want to go down to the next,
I'm going down. I'm just
Justin
seeing.
Timberlake. Where was it?
Oh
no,
no,
one more. Oh no, wait. I think I actually go up to the last video.
This one?
And then it should be below the picture, I believe. Oh my god.
This one.
Yeah, so the thread continues there. This is a really quick clip if you want to just hear Misty speak for like a second. This is really funny.
And what different tactics can we employ in order to now, like you said, Daryl, be on the offensive and take control of the narrative to drive the narrative as well as the prevailing thought throughout the country?
Doing this right here, what you guys are doing, it's great. Having more of these, not just maybe centered around general strikes, that are around other issues that people care about or that they just want to learn more about. Being able to listen to a multitude of people who have different and varying opinions. Like I've heard people throughout the summit that, they say things and I'm like, I don't really agree with that, but it's still interesting to hear their perspective. So I think having more of these conversations, and Rob, you're absolutely right. And people will try to discourage you. We don't need any more podcasters. We don't, so the dumb podcasters. We need more podcasters. We need more people talking because they can't silence us all. They're going to try. They're really going to try. And when somebody does, I try to do this as often as possible. I hadn't heard that you had been banned or suspended. But if like when Franco gets banned, I have him on my show. When Matt Orfala got suspended, I had him on my show. Like we have to have each other's backs. We have to, when Hardlands Media gets dinged all the time, I retweet and I yell at YouTube and I tell them to fix it. We have to do that for everybody. If you see that somebody's been suspended or banned or demonetized, make noise about it. Stand up for them. Don't
stand up for the anti-vaxxer who got the doctor who got banned from YouTube for saying ivermectin is
Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, you can mention the fact that like she doesn't actually mention like why these people got banned or whatever. Like that's one other thing. I don't necessarily disagree with this in principle. Like, help other creators whenever you're able to. But the problem is that like what they're doing is they're trying to create this network of creators that's going to kind of like insulate themselves from the outside world.
Yeah, I mean, like when I have YouTube trouble, they don't retweet my stuff. They don't have me on their show.
Selective solidarity. Yeah.
Right. So like, and that's my like, and I got into YouTube trouble several times this year. And they would like mock me and they would say you deserve it for being a shit lib or whatever because I disagree with them on Force the Vote. And so like that's the thing is they say these grand ideals, but then they don't embody them at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just a big part of it too is just like creating this like inflated sense of self-importance where like not only does doing this like help each other to them, but like also like it's a way that they can fight back against the establishment, which like unfortunately, like as great as I like some independent media channels and stuff like that, like there are some people who do really great work. Obviously I'm a fan of content creators, but like we got to be real about this shit. Like a lot of the time that means that like there's like really low standards for a lot of these channels, especially the ones that are featured on like the Fred Hampton leftists, like mainstream media corporations. Like if you report something wrong or inaccurate, you're going to get fired. You're going to get pushback from people.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of these people, they can just report on whatever the fuck they want. And they think that they're doing like this great truth telling thing. But in reality, they're like not really accountable to anyone. And most of the time they just end up pandering to their audience that already agrees with them in the first
Absolutely.
place.
Like they just like get
really
more and more
toxic
insulated over time and they do what works when it comes to money. And so
the
like
incentives are all there.
With that being said though, I do want to get into the diss track because this is good.
Yeah, sure. You might as well. Yeah,
this is really good.
So real quick, let me just introduce this real quick. Yeah, so this is the guy that was talking about how he's going to fuck up Hassan Piker and Kyle Kalinske. He really doesn't like those guys.
This is how he bodies them. He says that he bodies them on like a very regular basis, and this is an example of TYT getting bodied.
And it's on his YouTube channel too. So I wanted to correct myself too. Is that this guy does still have a YouTube channel? You can find him.
They probably said he got banned for like buzzwords, when in reality he got like a copyright claim or like one strike or something.
It might have been a strike. It might have been like a temporary thing. I know you can get strikes and then you're like banned from streaming for a while or something like that. So it might have been something like that.
But they will never go into specifics. They'll just say I got banned so that they can do their tour.
Yeah, and he said he got banned for anti-vax information and stuff like that too. So
all right, so this is track 1 on TYT Gets Bodied. Let's listen.
Hassan, listen closely, buddy. I just want you guys to know that this guy ain't no fucking MC. I know everything he's about to say against we. We are poor. We are fucking bums. Some of us live in trailers with our moms. We don't make millions playing video games. Nah, a big-ass mansion, that ain't part of our aims. You call yourself a socialist, but in capitalism you partook. And we all know, big brother, that there's no such thing as halfway crooks. Hasanabi means big brother, like Orwell's book. Ironic how you sit all day inside with a camera on you, you childish fuck. And like your uncle, I invoke the great name of Michael Brooks, who'd be ashamed of all your rhetorical gobbledygooks. Speaking of Jenk, how's that pig fucker doing, cuz? Because when we say fuck the pigs, we're actually talking about the fuzz. A general strike is when you watch my live stream, he said, as he Twitch streams all day from his king-size bed. He calls himself a Hun because you're running dick first into the Great Wall. And because of all the steroids, we all know you got no balls. My man must eat almost nothing but protein powder, so much so that his framework's starting to look a lot like Steven Crowder. And pig fucker Jenk couldn't be prouder that you're building those stacks while your takes become dumber and louder. He and Anna get rich from donations. We call that cow tipping, which is different than what Jenk does after work, which is putting his tip in a cow.
What?
Yeah, pantyless Anna can't get any attention, even though she's looking like a 30-year-old sow.
What?
When any y'all around billionaire donors, we know you're gonna drop trow and kowtow without lube like your Pramila Jayapal.
What?
Hassan Little Piggy went to Twitch stream. Hassan Little Piggy always stayed home. Hassan Little Piggy had millions, while the rest of us had none. Hassan Little Piggy, now cry wee 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 and go all the way home to your fucking $5 million mansion. Hassan wants to be like the mountain in Game of Thrones, but we, with time, are gonna bring you down to a molehill, Holmes.
Then it stops.
Well, all right.
So to be fair to Socialist MMA, I think that when he watched his video, I think that's the section that he saw where he was like, "Hell yeah, I got to bring this guy." And I think he's a big fan of this guy's bars. So, yeah.
I write diss tracks. Like, he called this a diss track. To me,
He didn't call that a diss track. That's related. That tweet is related to the other thing that he said that I don't know if you want to play on stream, which is the death threat that he made against.
Well, yeah, I won't play that one on stream, but like he says that in this though that he writes diss tracks / joke. So I assume that like this is a diss track though, right?
That's how he's trying. Yeah, exactly. It's all just like a joke. Like that's what he does. Like he just writes diss tracks and stuff like that all the time, which doesn't really make it any less cringe or anything.
Now again, there's so like we can analyze like every line of this this diss track, and I do want to make it very clear. This guy follows me on Twitter. Now I don't think I've interacted with them. It's possible I have. Like I just
hit those 3 dots. Get him to unfollow you. Okay?
Yeah. Well, I actually sent him a message before the stream started, and I invited him on my show. So we'll see if he wants to. I'm gonna try to get this guy on.
You're braver than I am. I want to stay as far away from this guy.
No, I want to get deep in. I like getting in deep, and then like it's like did you ever see the movie The Descent? You just go in so deep, and then you discover this other species. That's what I'm looking for. I want to really find what's going on in the heart of this, right? Sure. So this, like, we can analyze every track of this, but to me, the one that stood out the most as being cringy was that he thought that like Michael Brooks, if he were still alive, would agree with him and in any way, right? And then like would spend his time attacking Hassan Piker and the Young Turks. Like that to me is
yeah, it's really disrespectful, and like also it's just like historically like not backed up by the facts of like Michael Brooks's life. Basically Michael Brooks was like really good friends with Anna Kasparian, who's obviously like the producer and host of the Young Turks. And they were such genuine friends that they actually like started a podcast together in order for them to be able to talk and hang out more, actually. And this is what the person who produced that podcast said on one of Ravana's tweets, I think.
Yeah. But it's just like it's fascinating though, because like
people like to invoke his name like all the time.
It's fascinating. I mean, like everything. Like I really hope this guy comes on my show, because I would sit with this guy for 10 hours. I'm down. Like this guy. Like if you like get to the heart of this character, I feel like you will discover so much about like just human psychology,
He'll say some crazy shit that'll get you banned. I'll bet. He'll start like ranting and raving about we'll see. You gotta have that kill switch ready. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Now, it's very possible that they will not accept my invitation, though. Like, it is very possible. In fact, I'm gonna.
His videos being like circulated a little bit right now, so he's getting more attention, I think, than he ever expected to have. I don't know if you saw Ryan Grimm's tweet related to that, but I thought he had like a really, really funny. Yeah, you have it pulled up. I thought he had a funnier response to this than even I could have ever thought of. Like, basically, what this guy says is, "Yo, Hassan, squeal like a pig. You want to come fight me? I'll have Rome," who was another guy who was attending the General Strike Summit, "come and kill you and kidnap your family, and we'll make you sign away your house. And here's the kicker: we'll sell it and then set up 5 or 6 homeless shelters." And then Ryan Grimm responds here: "Liberalism is so hegemonic that even this guy who says he or somebody else is going to kill Hassan Piker and take his house only plans to sell it to build homeless shelters. Even this deranged self-styled joker can only imagine building a homeless shelter as his answer." This is just like what an amazing.
It really is. I'm going to sell my house so that homeless people have shelters.
Yeah, honestly, I think Hassan having a $5 million house probably helps the revolution more than building 5 or 6 homeless shelters, which is like even less than a temporary band-aid on like a systemic problem that we have.
But this, these characters, that really is what it boils down to. Is like it's pure rage, like directed at nothing for the sake of nothing. And it's like, it reminds me of like Magikarp, like, like it's just like they're just flailing. That's all they can do. There's nothing else. Yeah, there's literally that's their only ability is they flail and they just look stupid and like it's embarrassing. And I hope this guy comes on my show, to be honest. But yeah, so I might cover more clips of this on my show tomorrow. But thank you,
Yeah, we
High
have more.
Progressive, for
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah,
This is.
no
I feel
problem.
like this is a good episode. Chat room. How'd you feel about the ep? Let's get some chat onions in here.
How'd they feel about the what?
The ep.
Oh yeah, that's what you call them, eps, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's
This is
cool.
another
Short
classic
reference.
ep.
Classic ep. Very nice. Very good. I hope you laughed your ass off at 35K. Don't know what that means, but I'm glad you laughed your ass off.
Oh, they're having a
I try
fight
to be
in the chat.
entertaining. I try
We have
to, yeah.
we have a pet in the chat. Their name is DB Cooper, and they're like a far right wing, like Rittenhouse supporter kind of, and they just like they love capitalism because like they got a job as a teenager, and that proves that capitalism is successful.
Oh,
So-
child labor proves that capitalism
Something like
is
that. I don't know.
successful?
Like
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right, that's
like,
uncharitable.
It's pretty
but,
incredible stuff.
Wait,
I
is
like
that the resident
guest, pretty
chud?
fun. What's up?
Is that person a recurring like chud that you have in chat, or is
Yeah,
that just
yeah.
today?
Like, we just keep
that's
them around.
Yeah, Vosh has the same like deal. Like even as long as you're not being like a disrespectful piece of shit. Like if you're being dumb, we'll just give you the garbage can badge.
It's great. I mean, like, it's really great. My
That's
main
the thing.
rule is just spam. Like, if DB Cooper started to like spam shit, then it would be like annoying. But like, it's the great level of like they think that they're owning us, and it's just incredible.
Hey, thank you, Bob. Yeah, and like the last thing that I want to say too is that that's the thing, like related to all this is like I don't care if you're like on the right or if you're like not like as far left as I am. Like I'm friends with like lots of liberals and like conservatives and stuff on like, and I have been for a long time, like for my entire time on the internet, and especially in real life because everyone's not going to fucking agree with you all the time.
Sure.
Like it should go without saying that like you should want to be able to reach across the aisle and like talk to individuals based on their class situation and disregarding like the specifics of whatever their ideology is. The problem comes when you are explicitly like platforming and amplifying these harmful messages like anti-vax nonsense, like genocide denial, like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I really have a huge problem with that, like on ethical and moral level, and I think a lot of other people too. So
I mean, and it's also just embarrassing. Like that's the other thing is it's just
not even talk
embarrassing.
about optics. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean the optics itself is bad, but I think that like if left unchecked, like these sorts of like these sorts of like conspiracy theories and these ways of thinking can like rot a movement to its core. And
Absolutely.
we will probably be seeing this moving forward in the way that like all these helpless hopeless unproductive hashtag campaigns and stuff.
I mean, like, I will say
gonna
this
be
much.
self-defeating type of thing.
I used to think that the idea of the Bernie bro was like a joke, but it's like if I were a liberal and like these are the kinds of people that supported Bernie Sanders that I interacted with, like
these are the Bernie bros that your mom told you about.
Right? No, like for real. Like I mean, like these motherfuckers are insane. So like I do think that they do a lot of damage, and that's why again, like my show is I love to mock stupid people, but I do it with a point, And my point is that it's funny, so that's it. But anyway, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter. High Progressive is my handle. You can also find me on YouTube. High Progressive is my channel name. I post my memes there. Hopefully, in the future, longer form original content will be on there.
All right.
So High Progressive on YouTube, and then also keep an eye out in the future. At some point, I'm planning on also streaming on Twitch.
Okay.
So High Progressive on there. I haven't done anything yet, but if you want to follow on there, you can do that too.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming on. And if you want to come back on at some point, just let me know. I don't mind. And I'm going to ban you from the stream now. So if you have anything else,
Ban me from the call. Yeah, no
you're
problem.
Done. It's over. All right. There it is. But anyway, folks, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I have to pee, so that I'm not, I'm done. Thank you. Oh shit! I had the volume up. Whoops. Oh no! I just burned your ears. Oh, it's over. Okay, bye.
Accountable to anyone. I get 10 to 12 million views a month, and they won't come on and address my progressive audience. They won't come on and address Bree's audience, or Katie's audience, or Justin Jackson, or you. They are not accountable to us. They're accountable to whoever the fuck themselves. Let's not kid ourselves. As Chris Hedges taught us a long time ago, the people attracted to politics are the most mediocre of people. They're not your friends. They are elected servants, and start fucking treating them that way.
I hear Brownie is seconding you in the background.
They're not your fucking friends. They're the people standing in between us and fucking healthcare. They're putting their fucking personal position ahead of that. Don't fucking forget that.
Who are you talking about with that, Jimmy?
I'm talking about anybody who's a progressive in Congress who isn't endorsing hashtag the vote. All those motherfuckers who didn't show up today at our town hall. Every fucking one of them is selling you out and canceling you for their own personal gain. They're not accountable to anyone. I get 10 to 12 million views a month, and they won't come out and address my progressive audience. They won't come out and address Bree's audience, or Katie's audience, or Justin Jackson, or you. They are not accountable to us. They are accountable to the
I just want you guys to know that this guy ain't no fucking MC. I know everything he's about to say against we. We are poor. We are fucking bums. Some of us live in trailers with our moms. We don't make millions playing video games. Nah, a big-ass mansion, that ain't part of our aims. You call yourself a socialist, but in capitalism you partook. And we all know, big brother, that there's no such thing as halfway crooks.
Only the really, only the really, only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ